Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm bringing you a new video on how to win in the new GULAG. I'm going to go over a few tips and show you a few examples of things to keep in mind when you're in the GULAG lobby. So without further ado, let's get into it. Jumping into the first example right away, we have two options to think about: aggressive or defensive. Personally, I like to base my playstyle in the GULAG off the gun that I get. In this case, it was dual Desert Eagles, which I felt pretty comfortable with, so I chose to play aggressive, as you'll see. Something that's quickly worth mentioning is that if you didn't notice already, the new GULAG is a Nuketown recreation, so most people playing the new season should be familiar with this. Rewatching the first example, obviously you can see where my opponent starts. I push the right side while looking to see if he crossed to my side, along with listening for audio cues. I take a jump peek across the middle, see him and take a shot, then proceed to wrap around the right side to new cover, remembering not to get too ahead of myself as he makes a nice counter stun that I waited out. This allowed me to keep my advantage and not give him any chance at coming back. Moving along to my next example, which is showing the strength of the car head glitch for the other spawn. While I let this clip play out, try and think in your head what you would do in this scenario.
Oh, what a loser. Get one shot. I'm still standing.
Coming back to this clip, as this is a prime example of the benefits to playing a defensive role. As you can see, I make a quick dash for the car, getting slightly punished by taking a shot right away. But I know how strong this position is, so it's worth it to me. From here, notice how I'm aiming down my sights before peeking again. I know where my enemy just was before I crouched for cover. With that being in the back of my head, I can peek the same angle again while being pre-aimed confidently. I also wanted to point out at how bad of a peek this was on my part. I just got hit by his grenade, and I take an ego peek, but luckily don't get punished for it as I am one shot. Finally, this is where I push my advantage. I get tagged while throwing a grenade, but that gave me information on where he's located. This gave me easy shots, and I was able to capitalize on him being impatient and low on health. This is the last example before we do a recap, as I wanted to show how taking a risky position can benefit you. Obviously, as you just watched the clip, I take a strong right side position in the RV. Knowing that I haven't seen him or heard him while running up, he can essentially only be in two spots: at the sign where I catch a glimpse of him here, or AFK in his spawn. Okay, after showing you those three examples, let's recap. There's a few things I want to emphasize on so you can keep these in your mind going to your next GULAG fights. Starting with sound cues. These are not something to take for granted, as they can literally give you your opponent's position without you even having to see them. Looking at the next tip, process of elimination. You saw me doing this before in one of the examples. I showed you this when I mentioned my opponent could only be at the sign or AFK in spawn. This is an extremely helpful tip to use in all fights, not just ones included in the GULAG. Keeping track of your enemy's potential movements can make a big impact on finishing that fight quickly. An in-game example of this may be that you're chasing your opponent into a building and there's two floors of that building. You can use audio cues to hear where he went, which can indicate which floor he's on, letting you eliminate the floor that you know he's not on. The last thing I want you to keep in mind is your playstyle. I mentioned earlier that I use the gun that I get in the GULAG to determine my playstyle. If I get an SMG or shotgun, maybe I'd want to push and play to my strengths with that gun. Or maybe if I get an AR and I spawn on the side of the car, I would play the fight patiently, taking shots at my own pace because I know I can control the fight from that car head glitch. That's going to sum up this video, as I believe I've gone over a few very helpful tips to help you guys improve and win more GULAG fights. If you have any questions about anything I went over in this video, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I'll make sure to answer you. But that's all I have to say, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.